Welcome to the Babylon 5 Alliance. My name is Eric Rupp, and I am your host. Today we're going to be talking about Babylon 5, The Road Home, as well as the complete series Blu Ray set. And we're going to go over a few other things as well, but we're going to start off with Babylon 5 and The Road Home, the new animated movie that nobody saw coming. They did a phenomenal job of keeping this a secret. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody knew what was going on. They've been working on this thing for 2 years, and JMS is able to keep it a secret. It was just amazing that he was able to do that, and I know that a lot of Babylon 5 fans have been just ecstatic. They're just really thrilled that we're getting some new Babylon 5, a new Babylon 5 story in the original canon. It's just amazing that we're getting this. And I'll tell you what, the reaction is about what I expected, because there are a lot of people that are kind of down on the fact that it's animation versus live action. Well, there are a couple of reasons why it had to be animated. First off, the offer came from the Warner Brothers animation department. That's the first thing that happened. But beyond that, really, if you look at it realistically, the actors, as great as they are, and we love all of the surviving cast. These people are phenomenal. They do a great job. We loved them on Babylon 5, and we've loved them in other things they've done. But the one thing they can't do is they can't be 20 years younger. They just can't do that. And because of the way the story went with Babylon 5, they have to stick it in a certain time period. And you can't have these actors at the ages that they're at trying to be 20 years younger. It would be like Harrison Ford trying to play Indiana Jones in his 40s without CGI, without the de-aging. And as we saw with Robert De Niro in The Irishman, you can de-age somebody in the face, but when he got in that fight scene on the street, he moved like an older guy. And no insult to Robert De Niro there. I mean, we all get older. Heck, I'm older than I used to be, and I can't do what I used to do physically. But you can't hide the fact that somebody is 70 and not 50. I mean, that's just the way it is. So realistically, you can't have the actors playing what they were 25 years ago. You just can't do that. You can't even have them playing what they were 15 years ago. It wouldn't work. Now, beyond that, the other thing is that the budget for a live-action movie, especially one of this scope, would just be astronomical, and there's no way that Warner Brothers would have gone for it. It just wouldn't have happened at all if it hadn't been animated. So we kind of get a win-win here, something that would have been impossible as far as the cast goes without animation, and something that would have been impossible budget-wise without animation. So this is the only way we were going to get The Road Home. There was no way we were going to see this movie without it being animated. And I'm fine with that. I'm thrilled that we're getting a new Babylon 5 movie. This is fantastic. I mean, I know that it would have been, in a perfect world, it would have been nice to see this 15 years ago with as many of the surviving cast as you could have had, do it live action with a big budget. But that wasn't going to happen then, especially as we found out about the Warner Brothers executive. Look, we all suspected that, or at least I bet a lot of us did. I mean, let's face it. Warner Brothers had been doing next to nothing with Babylon 5 for about 20 years. I mean, they put out the DVDs and just pretty much let it die. I mean, you hardly ever saw it on cable. You hardly ever saw it on streaming. You could not watch Babylon 5 unless you had the old VHS tapes you recorded when it was first on in the 90s, or you had the Blu Ray, not the Blu Ray set, the DVD set that came out about 20 years ago. So if you didn't have the DVD sets or pre-recorded videotapes, you were not watching Babylon 5 for most of the last 20 years. And it made no sense to me. And with Joe coming out and saying what he said, and basically acknowledging that, yeah, there was somebody at Warner Brothers who did not like Babylon 5 and got in the way of everything. And it's pretty much clear now, because since that guy's been gone, we're going full steam ahead with all these new projects, The Road Home, and now we get the announcement that we're getting the Blu Ray complete series set. I mean, this is awesome. I mean, we had a feeling this was going to happen. I mean, at least a lot of people did. I know I did. So that's something where, it was one of those things where you were kind of thinking, well, okay, they've remastered it for HBO Max and for iTunes and Amazon, but where's the physical product? Because a lot of science fiction fans are big proponents of physical media. So they wanted it on Blu Ray. I know I did. I was definitely asking for Blu Ray, going online, making my point clear, writing a review. There was actually an Amazon page for the Babylon 5 Complete Series Blu Ray set, but it said currently unavailable, unknown when it'll be in stock. Well, I did a review of it asking Warner Brothers, where the heck is the Blu Ray set for this? Let's get this going. And I know a lot of other people did as well. And we now finally are getting the Blu Ray set for Babylon 5, the complete series. This is going to be awesome because Babylon 5, look, the DVD set, as much as I love it, and I do prefer the widescreen presentation for the live action stuff, but they could not afford to re-render all of the visual effects. It just wasn't going to happen. So we're not getting the re-rendered effects, so it has to be 4:3. And you know what? I can live with that. That was the original format. That's the way we originally watched it back in the 90s. So I'm cool with that. I think this is going to be all about quality over format in terms of the framing. And I'm okay with it being the original aspect ratio. That's always a big thing, or at least for a lot of people, it's a big thing, having the original aspect ratio. And that was, for me in the 90s, why I went widescreen and bought laser discs, because I wanted widescreen. I wanted the original aspect ratio. And we're getting that with Babylon 5. And look, I'll tell you what, on my old 4:3 CRT tube television, the Babylon 5 DVDs didn't look all that bad. Even the effects shots didn't look all that bad on a standard definition tube TV. But as soon as I got an HD TV and saw it in widescreen, oh my God, that looks awful. I couldn't believe it. I mean, look, I can watch it, and I'm okay with it the way it was. I've watched those DVD sets probably 5 times through. Okay, I've seen it a whole bunch of times. It's been okay. The story is what counts. But now getting a chance to watch this thing and see the effects not look crappy and pixelated, that's going to be awesome. That is going to be fantastic. And look at how many people are buying this thing. The Babylon 5 Complete Series Blu-ray set is selling like mad. Amazon's got that thing, and it's been number 1 or number 2 for the last week. It is a huge seller, which bodes well for the future of Babylon 5, which could include the rebooted series, which JMS is working on. He's been working on it. He keeps saying, hey, it's still full steam ahead. We just got the strikes to deal with. Hey, those strikes, they're a pain in the ass, okay? It's an unfortunate situation where the studios can't do the right thing. I know that their profits are down, but good grief. Let's think about this. Are there executives taking pay cuts? Why? No, they're not. They're making tens of millions a year. It's absurd for them to be taking that much money and not expecting the people that make it possible for them to have product to sell to barely struggle to get by in most cases. It's just nuts. So hopefully this strike comes to an end soon, because the sooner it comes to an end, the sooner we get announcements for maybe a new Stargate series, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we get that announcement for the new Babylon 5 series. And I am really looking forward to that. I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to the rebooted series. I didn't think I would be. And I'll tell you why. You cannot have anybody except Andreas Katsoulis playing Jakar. Okay? I think that's pretty much a given. Yes, for the voice work, they did get somebody else to do it with a voice actor in the animated movie. Okay, that's going to work. That's going to be fine. Okay? But with Andreas Katsoulis, it wasn't just the voice. That was a big part of it. The way he said things, it's just amazing. But the expression on his face, I don't know how he got so much emotion and so much of his performance through his face when he was covered in prosthetics. But he did it. And it was just phenomenal. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to see anybody else playing Jakar, but or Jakar, you want to make sure you pronounce it right. Anyway, the one thing I've noticed is that Joe, JMS for most of us, he has made it clear that this is not a note-for-note, beat-for-beat remake of the original. He has made it clear that this is going to be a similar story, but it's going to have a lot of different details. And I suspect a lot of different characters. Now, the word's out that the main character is going to be Sheridan. Okay, we're going to have John Sheridan at the heart of it again. And that's fine. That's fine. I don't think we're going to have Jakar in the new rebooted series. And you know what? That's fine too, because you can't have anybody else playing him. I don't think JMS would ever even try to have anybody else play him in live action. So we'll see what they do. But I'll tell you what, let's give this guy a fair shot. JMS has come up with so much good stuff. He's done such a great job, not just in TV and in movies, but in comic books too. He is a great storyteller. Okay, so I am convinced that when he does a new version of Babylon 5, it is going to be great. I'm convinced that The Road Home is going to be great. I can't wait for all this. I mean, I did not see any of this coming. I mean, I was one of you who thought that Babylon 5 was part of the past. The way Warner Brothers has been treating it, they have treated it as part of the past. But no, this is going forward. They're treating this like their major sci-fi franchise. This is their Star Trek, which is what I thought they would do come the turn of the century. I thought for sure that, hey, you know what? Babylon 5 challenged Star Trek in the ratings. It may not have beaten Star Trek, except for in a few markets when Star Trek Deep Space Nine was in a repeat, but it challenged it. Babylon 5 did really well in the ratings. A lot of people forget this. Babylon 5, for a show that was in first-run syndication on a network that was a loose network at best, Babylon 5's ratings were remarkable for the circumstances. So given that, it's just unthinkable that Warner Brothers didn't treat it like their own Star Trek. They didn't, and as Joe has mentioned, looks like it was one guy at Warner Brothers who, for whatever reason, did not like Babylon 5. Well, you know what? He's gone, and Babylon 5 is now moving full steam ahead. This is awesome. And I cannot wait for these things to happen. So we've got The Road Home coming on August 15th. We've got the complete series Blu Ray set on December 5th. If you have not ordered either one, order them now. Trust me, you pre-order them on Amazon especially, and you get the lowest price between now and the release date. So whatever the lowest price is in that time, that's what you get. So don't worry about price. You're going to get the best price between now and then if you order it now. And the more copies these things sell, the better the chances of Babylon 5 continuing to have new product, new animated movies, the rebooted series. God only knows what else we'll see. Maybe we'll get new novels. They are a series of, 18 novels that came out, 20-something years ago. Maybe we'll get that. There could be a whole bunch of stuff that we see. So just buy these things now. Give Babylon 5 your support like most of you always have, and good things will happen. Anyway, that's my Babylon 5 rant for the day. Again, my name is Eric Rupp. I am the host of the Babylon 5 Alliance. I am really glad to have you on board. Just remember to like the video, click to subscribe, and hey, post some comments down below. Tell us what you think about The Road Home, the complete series Blu Ray set, and the rebooted series. Go ahead and comment below. We will be glad to read what you have to say, and thank you very much. Talk to you later.